want to do? Let's learn how to PNF. This is 1% of what the whole PNF movement is. This is a contract relax using our brain to basically facilitate change. We're using all the position sensors, all the tension sensors, all the proprioceptors of the muscle tissue, of the joint tissue, all the free nerve, all that stuff is to help. I'm using that to cue and facilitate change. And the short story is maybe we fatigue the Golgi tendon bodies, they're temporarily inhibited. I can change the length and resting length tension relationship of the musculature, and I end up with a change. So what ends up happening is I have all these contractile fibers in my system, in my musculature, and I can inhibit those and they lengthen, and then I can inhibit those and then they lengthen. But what happens ultimately is I run out of muscle fiber. So what am I going to have to do? Build some more, drink some more milk, do some more squats, and make my hamstring longer. But in the meantime, a 5% increase in range of motion or 10% increase in range of motion is significant. If you go from here to here with 300 pounds, that gives you a lot of movement options. Agreed? So here's what we do. We're going to take ourselves into a position of restriction. Let's do something silly first, shall we? Take your thumb and try to drive it down into your hand. Over the top, this way. There you go. Not backwards, forward. Just like that. What am I doing? I'm just up in the web of my hand. This is a ridiculous position to try to mobilize. That's what we're agreeing here, right? What is that? Extensor pollicis longus, you think? Yeah, probably. Can you contract that for me? Nope. I have no idea. That's one of the muscles we're talking about here. It was PT humor. Hold, don't let you move you. Resist that. What are you resisting there? This position. I have no idea what's the release. Now go a little bit further. So what we do is we wind up and build nice tension for 5 seconds. We release and we move to a new position for 10 seconds. And we hang out. So the whole time I'm going to be at end range. There's not a time where I take a vacation. Now at this new range, hold, don't let you move you, release. And go a little further again. And immediately I take up that new slack because that musculature has been inhibited and I can go further. Does it go further? Yeah, it's weird. You know why it works? Because it's a muscle. Hey. So here's some advanced clinical reasoning. If I'm trying to stretch something using a neuromuscular model for mobilization and it doesn't respond, is it likely a muscular problem? No. How simple is that? If I'm seeing ART or rolling on something or getting on the crossball and it doesn't seem to be helping, is it a sliding surface problem? No. And that's really nice for me to kind of differentiate what the problem is, and that's why we give you kind of a menu. What is the problem? What's working to make this problem better? You guys with me on that? Okay, so let's mobilize our deadlift. And what the key feature of this thing is proving that it works. So let's get into our deadlift position. Belly tight, load the hips and hamstrings, knee forward, retention, see how that feels. Belly tight, and just see what that position feels like. What are we doing here? Testing and retesting, showing that there's actual change. What a novel idea. Okay, have a seat. Let's have a hammer on this this old posterior chain. So here's what we do. Pull your knee to your chest. Reach up and grab your own ankle, keeping your knee to your chest. This looks like the assessment we just did, except I'm taking myself all the way in range, and I'm going to pull that thing back. Now here's a little pop quiz. If I have super flexible, overly flexible athletes, do I spend any time mobilizing the posterior chain? No, they have other issues, right? So keep that in mind. You don't need to stretch overly stretchable people. In fact, overly stretchable people are blown out and need to be stiff, not stretched. So now you're at end range here. Take a big breath. Belly tight. Resist. Hold tight. Fight yourself. Don't lose. Release. Now pull your knee to your chest and retention. What's the safe word? Brisket. Brisket is the safe word. If you have to tap out, tell yourself brisket. Big breath. Hold, don't let you move you. Grab your ankle, hold, release. Knee to chest, retention. Minimum therapeutic dose is 2 minutes. Takes that long to tap into the viscoelastic properties of the tissues. Big breath. Hold, don't let you move you. Release. And come further. Keep taking up that slack. Always at end range. If you feel like it's hot nervy pain, what is it? Good, you guys got it. You're experts. Big breath. Hold, don't let you move you. Release. Take it up further. Is it working? Yeah. One more second. Big breath. Hold, don't want you, move you. Release. And release. And come on out. Dismount. Come stand up. Get into your deadlift. That's what we're mobilizing. Hip flexion, right? Does that feel different side to side? Yeah. Why are you leaning that way, coach? Yeah, absolutely. Did it make a difference? Wow. Did you know you were that tight in your posterior chain? Yeah. Have a seat real quick. You remember Mr. Miyagi first meets Danya-san in The Karate Kid? I just thought of this like last night on the MWAT. It turns out Danya-san's kicking his leg in the kitchen, right? And Mr. Miyagi's like, learn karate from book. And he like sneers at him. You guys remember? I think that basically happened down south here. Cobra Kai is like right around the corner, right? And the problem is you're not a linear human being, and only you know where you're tight. And if you have someone stretch you, or even a therapist potentially, it's difficult to really ascertain precisely where you're feeling your tightness. But you know exactly where you're tight. Hopefully you know exactly where you're ranging, and I want you to be in charge of figuring out where you're tight. Do the informed freestyling, do the kind of hunting around for your business, and that's what it takes. So here's what I want to do. I want you to grab that leg again. This time we're going to go leg straight, because that was the second one we did. Same leg. That way we can deadlift in a circle later. Belly tight, and just lean back. Okay, now straight forward is one thing, right? What happens when you drop that leg out to the side a little bit? Because that looks a little bit more like my sumo deadlift. Does that change any pulling dynamic? Yeah, I get a whole new brand of hell over here. So watch, big breath, hold, release. Go a little further. Now pull that leg all the way across your body. That's a high neural tension position, but it does feel tighter over there, doesn't it? Weird. And so what you're seeing is that you're going to have to explore and find out exactly the raise where you're tight.